I was 15 the first time that I used. It was April 28th of 2010. A girl who grew up across the street from me was a very close friend of mine. And she took a handful of pills one night and she didn't wake up the next day. And it just kind of changed a lot of my belief system. I had thrown in the towel on any sports that I was playing, any extracurricular activities that I was doing with school. Like, I completely stopped doing all of that. The only thing that I cared about or focused on was getting high. Any morals that I had built up or anything like that had pretty much gone to the side. It kind of didn't matter. I started robbing people and just didn't really care about what tomorrow brought. I just lived minute to minute and made sure that I got what I felt that I needed to survive. And in doing that, I meet a handful of kids who party and drink and smoke weed on the weekends, and eventually I'm gonna run into some people who eat, pain pills, and then eventually I'm gonna run into some people who eat Xanax, and eventually I'm gonna run into some people who do dope, you know what I mean, who do heroin. And it happened real fast for me. I wasn't on treatment court for 2 weeks before I had violated probation and got put in jail for the first time. And it didn't really scare me, it didn't really do anything, because I was just in such a low, dark place that I had realized, like, I can exist like this. I can make this work somehow. And so obviously I went back to using. I didn't change anything about the people I was putting myself around, the things that I was doing. I obviously went back to using. The only thing that I know, the only thing that ever made me feel comfortable up until that point. So I violated again, I went to jail again, and I went to a short-term rehab that they had paroled me to after that. I'll never forget being poised with a situation where I know with certainty that I'm gonna do 3.5 to 7 years in state prison if I get high right now. I still just did it because it's the only thing that I knew. I deserve to be behind bars, and at least my mom can sleep soundly at night knowing that I'm in prison, instead of having to stay up until 3 a.m. listening to the police scanner, waiting for them to identify my body. I'm under the impression I'm going to prison. My probation officers have pretty much all but told me that I'm going to prison. My mom's under the impression that I'm going to prison. I'm pretty much just waiting to sign paperwork for my, revocation to get it over with. And so I'm in jail for like 2 weeks. And a lady named Donna came in from Erie County Drug and Alcohol. She works for treatment court. She told me that despite a lot of people's recommendations, I'm now faced with a choice. I can either sign my revocation papers and get it over with, or they want to give me one more chance. And I kind of broke down and started realizing that I am one of these people in these 12-step programs that I'm going to. I'm not different from these people. I have a severe problem and it's gonna kill me pretty soon.
The one thing he had going for him was his mother and the love and respect he had for his mother. And that kept his feet here versus running. Everyone thinks recovery is giving up your drug of choice, but it is far, far more than that. We are asking you to look at yourself, change the way you think, the way you handle your problems, your recreation, the people you hang with. Everything in your life is being examined. We're asking you to change it. It's a lot of work. And sometimes that work is scary, and you've got to believe you can do it. You got to believe it's necessary, and then you got to believe you can do it. That this is not the life that God meant you to live.
If the Erie City mission didn't exist, I wouldn't exist. I'm pretty confident I'd be dead. I'd either be dead or I'd be, in a cell in state prison.
You can see he's happy with his life. He went from not showing up to appointments and not believing he wanted it, needed it, or could do it, to walking through a man who owns a home, has a beautiful baby that he brings back to visit, feels good about himself, is helping other guys in recovery, is leading meetings. He went from the 21-year-old Josh that entered our program to actually being a leader in the community. And that's his butt.
Well, first of all, I'm not under any legal supervision or anything anymore. I get to be mentally and physically present for every second of my kid's life. You know, he's never had to see dad under the influence or with handcuffs on or anything like that. That's really important for me. That's probably the best thing. I don't think I could in 100 lifetimes give back what the mission's given to me today.